Laughter. Go.
How can we end this scourge on humanity? No, but
I like laughter. I just think, how do we use it for our benefit?
it's an interesting topic because it's something that I think about and I try to categorize when I laugh and when I see other people laugh. And first, let's just talk about laughter in response to what people consider humorous, because there's other categories of laughter.
Okay, why do people laugh to humorous things, and what is humorous?
Yeah, how is this defined? It seems to me, when I try to break down when I laugh at something, when I see other people laugh at something, a common term here used is subversion of expectations. But I think that doesn't really capture the full scope of things that make people laugh. It is when they see something that is unexpected or surprising, or hear something that's unexpected or surprising, but still fits within their worldview, or within their worldview of what they're seeing. So if it's just completely random, it's unlikely to make them laugh. But if it's random and random makes sense within the universe it is portrayed in, like on a TV show or something like that, it's more likely to make them laugh. And what a lot of comedians do is they tell you something that you've heard before.
That you know well.
Yes, and then either they give you a different ending to the story that still makes sense given what you know about the world, or they present something in a different light where you think, oh, that's kind of true, but it's not the way I expected it to be presented.
Yeah, okay, so a surprise is one big factor. I had this one experience. I tell Malcolm that I often not cry, but laugh when I'm in situations where I'm in a lot of pain or really uncomfortable. Like there was this one time where I needed to get a hip x-ray. For some reason to do it, they had to stick a very large needle into my hip. And I just have this memory of lying on this x-ray table with this magnificently large needle in my hip. And I'm just like, and I wonder if, I mean, obviously that's not because it was funny or subverting my expectations. It was because I was terrified and in pain. And I've done that a lot in even like less comfortable situations.
Yeah.
So I think
There's
might
dog
be like
story.
Dogs licking my face, and I'm not accustomed to dogs doing so, and I'm not comfortable with it. But I'm laughing, and I'm like, and I'm really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. But I think maybe that could be connected to a new theory that I've been reading about. Researchers are starting to say that fight or flight is not really that universal of a subject, in the same way that all of our knowledge about heart attacks is to a great extent about heart attacks in men, because men are what are researched. Fight or flight might be how we think people respond to threats and fear because we're researching men. And when we look at how women react in the same situation, what some researchers are saying is we get a tend and befriend response. So it could be that I am trying to befriend by laughing when I'm exceedingly uncomfortable, which is interesting because that also connects to...
Please don't kill me, I'm amiable.
Yes! I think that connects to some studies that both you and I have seen recently about men and women laughing together.
But before we get to those, I love this because what you've done is you've tied up one area of laughter. What could be causing this sort of fear laughter response? And a really cool way about the way you tied it up is there aren't any studies on this, but if you could do a study and show that women laugh in nervous or dangerous situations more than men, your theory could be proven out. So that would be something that we could maybe do a little survey on sometime.
For the research someday.
Yeah, for research someday. But then what's causing the first category of laughter, which we normally think of like as humorous laughter, when you see something unexpected. And I've got a theory on this as well. I haven't seen anyone else promote this theory, but to me, it's very compelling.
Oh, is this the theory you came up with when you were playing with our baby?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So we have a newborn baby, and I've noticed that he laughs. It's one of the primary ways he communicates. He smiles, he laughs, and he cries.
Yeah.
And so I can look at the response. It's changed the way I think about crying. Because now I see our baby crying, and I'm like, okay, so he's crying as a way to communicate because he's not verbal yet.
Yeah.
And I, as an adult, have a specific reaction to him crying. And now when I see an adult crying, I'm like, oh, that's a behavior that is specifically meant for babies to communicate something.
Because they can't word yet.
And they're reverting to it in situations of extreme trauma, or because they've been conditioned to believe it will provide them, an adult who was raised in a not great scenario, they've been conditioned to believe that it will result in somebody coming to their aid.
Yeah.
Maybe laughter is actually very similar to that. It's a mechanism that is primarily meant to work in babies. Because when I look at when our baby laughs at things, it's when he is experiencing something new to his world, but that kind of makes sense to him. So like, I'll be looking at him, I'll put him down, I'll look at him again, and then he'll laugh.
And you think that it's a method of reinforcing that behavior? Basically saying, give me novel stimuli. And
Well, not novel stimuli, but more stimuli like this. It's saying he's beginning to build the connections around the stimuli.
And he's putting together the puzzle.
Yes, and he wants more stimuli like that.
So that would explain why things like peekaboo or pronouncing vowels differently.
Yeah, so if you go to a baby and you pronounce vowels like E, sometimes they'll start to giggle a lot at certain developmental stages. And it's because they want you to keep doing that. And as an adult, as a parent, you're very compelled to do that.
So I guess, yeah, maybe there's no reason why humans would be disadvantaged to not let go of that behavior. And so we continue to laugh when something... Okay, so we laugh when something is somewhat breaks our existing understanding of reality, but in a way that maybe helps us see it in a new light.
Mm-hmm.
Women especially may laugh when they're uncomfortable, because Malcolm has no memories of laughing in uncomfortable situations. But then also, like I was saying, I think women laugh in a way to befriend, but men, from what we've seen in studies, don't seem to react the same way. So the studies that we've seen, the studies that we've seen suggest that women are more likely to laugh at a man when she finds him attractive. And men find it very attractive when women laugh at their jokes, but not so much vice versa.
Well, let's clarify. So there's sort of two famous studies on this. And one of the ones, the older one that's always cited, is that both men and women value humor, a sense of humor in a partner. But apparently in this older study, what that means is men value a partner who laughs at their jokes, and women value a partner who can make them laugh.
Yeah.
That might be a little reductionist, and I think that's the way it's seen in more modern studies.
But it's a nice economy. We have supply and demand.
But in a more recent study that I thought was very interesting is they showed that if you have a male and female participant in a room, and the female participant laughs at the man's jokes, like the man tries to make jokes and the woman laughs at them, the high probability of a romantic interest there. But the alternative is not true. If the woman's making a lot of jokes, it doesn't really have a correlation to, and the man's laughing at them, to whether or not he finds her attractive.
Yeah, sex for funny women, I guess.
Actually, some female comedians have complained about this.
Yeah.
They said that the moment I see the crowd laughing, I know that every guy finds me disgusting. And I don't believe that. Like, that seems extremist to me.
It sounds like a joke to make, but it could have a kernel of truth to it, which is the secret of humor, right?
Right?
It's something that fits with our reality,
but
and we kind of believe might be true, or we're like, oh man, that's true.
Oh god, no, that's true.
Yeah.
That's so much so.
Really funny. Yeah, I wonder.
Another thing that I really loved about the studies that I've seen, and this more recent study or researcher who's been looking into this, is it's been a theory for a long time, and it was a theory that I believed, is that maybe the reason why laughter is used in romance and seduction is because it demonstrates some form of intelligence.
Oh, that smart people, or if you're witty and you can make people laugh, you're more attractive?
You're showing your intelligence.
Okay.
And the intelligence shows genetic fitness, and that genetic fitness increases attraction because they're like, okay, I know this is a good person to mate with. But if you look at people, and let's clarify here, this is self-described humor, so we don't know if it's true.
So self-reported. It's people who think they're funny. And we all know someone who thinks they're really funny.
People who think they're funny are, statistically, they don't have higher GPAs, and they don't have higher SAT scores.
I don't know. So I would question whether that actually tracks with being funny. And so it could still be that people who are genuinely funny, who may even not report to think they're funny, are more intelligent. Because I think people who are genuinely funny are also capable of seeing the world in novel ways, and at least the way that I track intelligence is not necessarily going by the book, but that might not be a classic measure of intelligence.
Well, that's very interesting. So suppose that laughter isn't a sign of intelligence, but it's a sign of what you're learning from the person, or at least how much their view of the world differs from the societally standard view of the world.
Their ability to take different perspectives or view things in a new light.
Right, but that is still internally consistent.
Yeah.
So they're able to see the world in an internally consistent fashion, but that is different from what other people think. And is it a different sort of a measure of intelligence? Or is it
definitely think it's a measure of intelligence. When I am laughing like crazy in response to what someone says or observes about society, a lot of it's because it's so true, right? We laugh because it's so true.
You're like, oh, or it's so wrong but true.
Yes,
you know?
I think that it takes intelligence to push yourself out of autopilot and look at something and say, wait a second, this is ridiculous. And so, no, I would push back on that study. And one thing that's actually pervasive in so many, especially psychology studies recently, and the British Psychological Society had like a blog post talking about it recently, was just the extent to which studies now are less about practical responses in real situations, mostly because I think it's expensive and ethics boards make it really troublesome to do so. And now it's mostly self-reported. So do you feel happier when you quit social media? Are you funnier? Do you sleep well? That kind of thing. And so we have to be aware and be really careful when reviewing this stuff to see if it's self-reported or if it's real. But let's take what we've gathered here.
But that's why we so often run our own studies, is we're just like, well, I guess we can run it ourselves.
Yeah, if everything's self-reported, like, shoot, we can do that.
Yeah, it's unethical to test this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
someday with money we will test things in the field as well. But let's take what we've learned and turn it into profit, or at least something practical, right? So here are 3 reasons why we think people laugh. One is perhaps it's kind of a pair bonding attraction thing between men and women. One is perhaps especially among women, it's a way to endear themselves to potential threats. And then finally it's something that maybe babies have used to perhaps positively reinforce not necessarily novel stimuli, but stimuli that helps them see the world in a more all-encompassing way or in a more nuanced way, which helps them develop in spatial reasoning, understand what humans are, and identity, and that's why peekaboo's so interesting. Like, you're not just your face, but you're this thing behind it. And
it's like, oh, the face disappeared, but it was kind of still there, and now it's there again.
Yeah.
And I want to see this again so I can understand object permanence. Like, even when I can't see the face, it's still there.
I guess so. If we were to leverage this for profit, if someone's trying to use
humor,
someone's trying to use humor to make money, what you need to do is present things that we already kind of know in slightly different ways to make people laugh.
Yeah.
In education, sure. Yeah, I guess laughter is a sign of what?
Well, laughter is a sign that you need to expose the person to the stimuli over and over again until it's not funny.
Oh, okay. So when something stops being funny,
they're saying, I've learned it. I understand it now. Peekaboo, object permanence is no longer interesting to me. I don't find it. Yeah, I get object permanence now.
Object permanence.
Would you have any final thoughts, Simone? Or
no, I think that was interesting. I am now going to be a lot more self-aware when I laugh, because maybe it means I'm trying to deal with an aggressor, or maybe that I'm learning something new that I should explore more. So, cool.